Yeah, I mean, there were two pieces of news that we got yesterday. One is that this list of products for which there will be a 25% retaliatory tariff has been finalized and will be put to a vote by national governments tomorrow on Wednesday. But this actually isn't a retaliation to the Liberation Day tariffs, a flat 20% tariff announced by Donald Trump last week. This is in response to the aluminium and steel tariffs of 2 months ago. So this is a proposal that was actually put forward 2 months ago, but has been delayed by national governments who started to get nervous when Trump was threatening a 200% tariff, a retaliation to the retaliation on French and Italian wine if the EU went ahead with putting tariffs on imports of American bourbon and whiskey. So it looks like that French and Italian lobbying has been successful. Bourbon and whiskey have been taken off the retaliation list. Now, the original value of EU-US trade that these tariffs were going to impact was estimated at the Commission at 26 billion euros. We can assume that amount has gone down now that some items have been removed from the list, but that is nowhere near the 380 billion euros that the Commission says will be impacted by the Liberation Day tariffs of last week. So this in no way can be seen as a retaliation to last week's announcement. Essentially, it's a delayed retaliation to the original steel and aluminium tariffs. It's equal to those, not equal to this. Now, at the same time, we have this announcement from President von der Leyen saying that they're offering zero for zero tariffs. That, in fact, is not news. That has been on the table from the EU to the US technically for years, but particularly over the past couple months. The problem there is the industrial tariffs that she's talking about are only 1.6%. What Trump's tariffs are actually retaliating for is the trade deficit. So it's no surprise that last night Trump already rejected this zero for zero offer out of hand because even though he says these are reciprocal tariffs, they're not. They're actually in response to the trade deficit. There's not so much that policy can do about that. That's just Europeans not wanting to buy American things. However, the Commission is still talking about a hope for negotiation before those 20% tariffs are supposed to take effect tomorrow.
Yeah, and of course, it all means then, Dave, that it all hangs now then on negotiations with Donald Trump, which may not go the way the EU hopes.
Well, the thing is, nobody knows whether these tariffs are really open for negotiation, and that's what we really saw on the markets yesterday, this roller coaster ride, when there was news that maybe Trump was going to delay the start of the tariffs to give room for negotiation. We saw the markets shoot up. Then when that was shot down as fake news by the White House, the markets went down again. The markets are as confused by all of this as EU policymakers here in Brussels. They don't know whether that 20% monster tariff rate is intended as a starting point for negotiation, or if it is a principle that they're not going to be able to get around. Trump's comments last night about this, again, still confusing. At one hand, seeming to say the tariffs are going ahead no matter what. Then on the other hand, when asked to list some of the countries that are making good moves for negotiation, he actually listed the European Union. So right here in Brussels right now, nobody knows whether these are actually going to take effect tomorrow. But the line from the European Commission in the meantime is that they are open for negotiation, that they want to avoid these tariffs. I think if the tariffs do actually take effect tomorrow, there will be a couple days leeway to see if Trump will back off after their imposition, like he did in previous rounds with Canada and Mexico. But really, I think it will be not till next week or the week after where the Commission is going to seriously consider retaliating against the Liberation Day tariffs, and that would be massive. The big question is whether they would go after services, because the U.S. has a trade surplus on services in trade with the EU, and if the EU chooses to go after that, banks and big tech in the U.S. could be really, really in trouble.
Dave, thanks very much. Dave Keating, our correspondent, talking to us live there from Brussels.